Hey good people, and welcome to the channel. Today you'll get to hear my thoughts and feelings on the Fox TV show Our Kind of People, which premiered a few hours ago. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my take on things. Now when I first heard of this show was being brought to us by the creators of Empire, I asked myself, will family members be trying to screw each other over for money and glory? Will parents be trying to throw their kids in the trash can? Will there be characters on this show that mirror characters that you can see on Empire? And I guess the million-dollar question would be, is Our Kind of People just like Empire? Well, the short answer is absolutely. We begin this episode with Angie, played by Yaya, her daughter Nicki, and fellow family member Patricia, as they're heading from Boston to Oakland Bluffs, Massachusetts. On the way to the new home, they stop at the beach, and my first immediate reaction was that Yaya looked extremely stunning. I mean, her booty meat was of high quality, like Angus beef, and her physique alone just proves that Jesus is real. Now, while at the beach, we get some backstory related to Angie's mother dying and how they were moving up there to create a better life for themselves and create generational wealth. Now, as beautiful as Yaya is, she's got to hire a new acting coach. She was crying during one of these scenes, but no tears were coming out. I know that's a nitpick, but let's move on. Angie reveals that it was her mother's dream to open up a beauty shop in the area. Later on, when Angie and the crew arrive at the new place, Angie informs them that they've been invited to a party hosted by the Duponts. The Dupont parents are Raymond and Lea, while their children are Quincy and Lauren. They are your stereotypical bougie people of color who likely use money for toilet paper. While Angie and her family are at this party, Angie bumps into Tyreek, played by Lance Gross. Now while this bump was accidental, Angie catches the eye of Tyreek, and you can tell that there's some chemistry between the two of them. Also at this party, Nicki makes an impression on Quincy and Lauren's friend Taylor, who invite her to an after party that they host on a boat. Nicki initially declines, but ultimately decides to go later on. We get several flashback scenes in this episode of Angie as a kid wanting to find out who her father is. We later get a scene at Franklin's Holding, a lucrative firm that's headed by Teddy Franklin, played by Joe Morton. Teddy Franklin is Lea Dupont'S father. Lea and her husband Raymond sit on the board, and Lea isn't too happy that her father is into corruption as head of the organization. The father Franklin quickly reminds Lea who's in charge and why. In a later scene, we see Angie attending a party that's hosted by Tariq, and Nicki attends a party hosted by Quincy and Lauren. These parties are occurring at the same time. Tariq spends a few minutes one-on-one with Angie, and they waste no time swapping DNA with the kisses. Now, I'm all for a good kiss here and there, but this seemed to be a little rushed for their characters, but I'll move on. While Nicki's at the DuPont kids party, Lauren's friend Taylor goes overboard in an accident and the police are called. When the police arrive, the DuPont parents refuse to allow the police to do their job and interview Lauren. Lauren panics and accuses Nicki of drinking and being the last one with Taylor, which isn't true at all. Angie takes Nicki home and punishes her for drinking. It's during this scene that we learn that Nicki has a past history of abuse and substances and being in a diversion program. Nicki feels betrayed by Angie and accuses Angie of doing whatever it takes to fit in with these uppity people. We get scenes of the DuPonts holding separate meetings for their prospective men and women who want to join their secret societies for the rich and influential black folks of Oak Bluff. Angie is invited to attend one of these meetings, and there's tension between her and Lea. Lea comes off as extremely privileged during her interactions with Angie throughout the entire episode, and she wastes no time or opportunities letting Angie know that she's better than Angie. There's a scene with Nicki in her room alone, and for some reason, she has Taylor's cell phone. She looked through Taylor's cell phone and found a video of Taylor and Lauren being intimate. In a later scene at the mother-daughter's fashion show, Nicki feels that it's a good idea to tell Lauren about the cell phone footage that she found while being nosy. Might I also add that Lauren was seeming to have a nervous breakdown during this time. Now hold on. Secret same-sex relationship? Mental health struggles? Can someone say Empire? During Lauren's breakdown, the mother Dupont comes along and tries to figure out what's going on. Lauren throws Nicki under the bus again and accuses Nicki of making threats towards her. Now hold on for a moment. At this point in the show, I threw my remote at the screen. Nicki should have outed Lauren right then and there. She's been mouthing off at her own mother for half the episode, but she can't check some girl who she doesn't even know. But Angie comes to Nicki'S defense, and Lea uses this opportunity to publicly humiliate Angie by telling everyone that her mother was a maid who was arrested for drugs. Lea is a piece of work who later blackmails her own father into retiring from Franklin Holdings so that she could run the empire. During the final parts of this episode, we see Angie beginning to learn that Teddy Franklin is her father, which would make Lea her sister. Angie and Lea then have a one-on-one conversation that foreshadows the conflict that is to come. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate this episode a 6. And while it was the season opener, it reminded me far too much of Empire in several parts. The acting performances could also use some work in my opinion, but as the season goes along, I think the acting performances will get better. Well folks, this marks the end of my video. What are your thoughts about the episode? Leave your comments below in the comment section and I will reply to each and every one of them. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.